So, yeah, I was just mentioning how, yeah, I think secrets can be a good thing. They can be kind of fun.
Mm.
Like, I don't, as long as those secrets, again, aren't harming someone else, right? In a
Mm.
real
Yeah.
material way or a physical way. I also think we act like in the West in particular that secrets that we need to know everything about everybody, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it goes back to I think you had mentioned before, like the feminine mystique. Like that I feel like is a great example of where I feel that in the United States in particular, like when it comes to relating in a with the opposite sex or the same sex from a relational standpoint, there's no I have always felt increasingly like there's no sexiness. Like let's talk about secrets and sexiness. Like I think in the East, sexiness is a little bit more sophisticated. I think it can be extremely, you can go on one extreme, but I think there's a little bit more subtlety, sometimes. Whereas in America, it's a little bit crass at the same time, not across the country or not, but I mean, maybe in media, it's like both in the way we present ourselves and also our speech sometimes. And I think even the younger people are getting sick of it, which I appreciate. This sort of just, and I think reality TV kind of contributed to that. And it goes back to the
Yeah.
voyeurism element. I think we see secrets. That's what I'm saying, given the example you provided with Oprah and it being this other extreme. I think of just like, yeah, there's this show called Love Island. I've never watched it, but it's all these couples who are trying to find love on an island and they're like always wearing bikinis and stuff. And, I don't mean to be disrespectful, but these are not the brightest tools in the shed. It's a very, I find it very shallow. I don't find it particularly interesting. And it speaks to that lack of subtlety. And I don't know. I'm just thinking in general of the positive elements of secrets, and I can only think of it in that context. Um, because I think we often see it as strictly a bad thing. Where it goes back to the example that I provided. If you're an atheist in a religious society, those people feel fine and they're just like, I can't share. But that's still rooted in a like security perspective. Like I have to be secretive to protect myself. But where are there ways in which secrets can be a fun thing or a good thing, if that makes sense?
I think, yeah, you brought up like sexuality, I think is a big
Yeah,
space for that. Yeah, like historically it has belonged to the private
yeah,
secretive space more or less. Um but I think again media and social media, in particular reality TV, starting that trend, it's been amplified and they've seen it created money. People do want to kind of creep into other people's lives and know all these details. And I think it became more normalized now to talk about the most intimate details about, the sexuality of people.
which I just want to get more like that is where I think the West can learn from the East. Like, I really just think this, and we need to bring back shame, as I always say. I find it so tacky, and I don't think that makes me like a prude. I'm not saying don't have sex. I'm not saying don't date. Of course not. I think in the East, in some societies, it's too extreme. I agree of that, like, sort of let's not talk about it kind of thing. I absolutely. But at the same time, it's just so like, and now I think it's so bad that like younger people statistically are having less sexual relationships with each other. Did you read about this? Gen Z are having the least amount of sex humanly possible. And then also, I think this is a good thing, but as a result, teen pregnancies have gone down. But I can only assume, you know, I wonder if that's because of this sort of proliferation of just like sex everywhere. It's not just limited to porn. It's not limited to, it's in mainstream media, it's in social media. And to me, it's not even talking. I don't know. I think
I
that's the
think
fear.
that
I think
speaks.
that's the Somali, like Muslim, like this is unacceptable. Don't talk about this. Live in secret.
Yeah.
Like have double lives, have triple lives.
If you may, if you
Yeah,
will,
like
if
I
you
don't want
must.
to talk about. Like I never understood that. I think that is the cultural difference, right? Like you and I are
Mm.
similar in that way. Like I don't want to talk. It's just
I
gross.
think
I'm
the
like an old lady. I'm like disgusting. Like what are you talking about? But I think it's I don't know. I just find it like that's a secret. I guess it's just like I don't want to hear. I think it's crass. I don't want. I think it's keep it in the closet. Keep that conversation. That's the only thing that should stay in the closet. It's just the
Yeah.
discussion of it.
Yeah.
not
Do
having it.
whatever you want to do, but
That's
you,
it.
yeah, but we don't have to know about it. That's the point. Do whatever you want
Yeah,
to do.
why?
I think to me, I think it speaks about the value, the emotional, psychological dimension of sex, which is the intimacy, the mystique,
Yeah.
there is that element that when you talk about it in public, you take away all of these dimensions. So it kind of lessens the experience because, and
Yeah,
I think that's
cheapens
very
it.
cultural. Cheapens it. I think that's very cultural because a lot of in some cultures it's just like a physical thing. It's a physical thing. They say it's a physical thing. I personally don't think it's a physical thing only.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and if someone says that, the immediate thought that comes to my mind, I'm like, I wonder what the quality of your experience is if you
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
physical. Because
Totally. Yeah.
yeah, and I like many other things, I think there is the surface level of experiences in life, and then there are the deeper kind of emotional, psychological, and the secrecy lives there.
Yeah.
If you bring the emotional, psychological up in the surface, then you lose some of the ownership of it. I think there's
Yeah.
ownership. Um, yeah, that I personally would guard in these situations, and I think it is, as you said, very culturally constructed.
Absolutely.
Some
Yeah.
cultures do not historically view it that way, and I think there is money to be made in bringing all, yeah, exactly, like
Yeah.
eliminating the emotional, the psychological, the intimate dimension of the experience, and making it more mainstream, more physical, mechanical, because you generate, you create products, services, you create the story and the narrative, and there are whole businesses built around that. Like not just
Yeah.
porn, we're talking reality TV is a big one.
Or
It's
even
just like
like
all
yeah, it's even tabloid culture. Like think about the
right.
celebrities who have tried to retain some privacy, or not privacy, I'm sorry, well, privacy, but as well as secrets. And then and now that continues with these sort of now we have the cell phone, so we can just see a celebrity being with someone they shouldn't be or doing something they're not supposed to do, and then someone can videotape it. So that level of living a secret life feels like it's becoming increasingly more difficult because I mean, I think that's a good thing we can kind of transition to is like, how do you even maintain secrets in this sort of increasing surveillance society? And when I use the survey, people often talk about the surveillance state, but I think we live in a surveillance society. I think we're surveilling each other at this point. We kind of talked about that in our privacy episode as well. But that's another thing is like, how does one get to even keep their secrets? Because I think in the West, because everything is commodified to your point, Lubna, it's almost like we don't even need to have secrets. What's the point anymore? Like there's this sort of normalization taking place of just, because I think too about, I guess we did this in the privacy episode again. I don't know why I'm thinking about it in the context of relationships, but it's like, that Coldplay relationship where they were just out and about, like a random CEO, like not of Google, not of Amazon or any of these like quote unquote technocrats or, like no one of real power. And it's like, we gotta videotape, Because that's another thing that's interesting. I guess that's a good example in this conversation we're having because they were doing something secretive. They didn't want anyone to know about it. And they were a random couple. But that's what I'm saying. We don't live in a surveillance state. The state has done a good job of having us all surveil each other because the way in which people were projecting their own ideas of what is socially acceptable and how even in a free society like the United States, it feels like there's this impulse in humans to always,
police each other,
police one another, right?
and shame each other, and when and if they need to, they feel that they have to uphold the social code or the
Yes.
moral code or whatever they think is the code at the time, and for
This
whose
is America.
benefit.
Yeah, but it's to your point, like, but this is it. But you think about it like this was in Boston, you know what I mean? Like this wasn't, it's one thing when you do it in other societies where there's real familial, monetary, financial, physical consequences, right? Because some of these societies are still, but yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Is that like a natural impulse in us that we have to police one another? So,
And reveal each other's secrets.
reveal each,
Is
yes. Yeah, like we both
Mm.
want to be secretive, but then we also want to reveal people. What is that? I don't know. I'm just thinking like,
I wonder.
why
I
can't
wonder.
people?
Yeah.
But
I
then
wonder if
it's
it's some.
interesting. Oh,
Mhm.
wait,
No,
sorry.
no, no,
I
please
just
go
had a
ahead.
thought. Because then
No,
it
no,
also
go ahead.
makes me think of like when also real secrets that are damaging come out, like Epstein files, for example, right? Like, and then we don't do anything about it. That's what I don't understand. It's like I think there's a power element to secrets that we maybe want to talk about as well. The power, who has the power?
To hold the secret or reveal the secret, or
Both.
both.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Epstein files was a very good example. Because it's a network of secrets. It's
Yeah.
not just one particular incident that happened one time. There's so
Yeah.
many people involved across different locations, more or less, different industry spaces. Like, so that's a network, a web of secrets. And there were people that came out to reveal it and to ask for justice, primarily the women who have been abused. But the reaction has been very different to say, like, people with less, as you said, the couple with less power, that their secret has been revealed, and people have been very quick to kind of bully them in a way. Not to say that people weren't angry about the FC files. I think there was a huge wave
Oh
of
yeah, I think
anger
people
and
are angry.
frustration,
Yeah.
and it's just
Sure.
like translating the emotion of disappointment and anger into action. And I think in the action space now you have the accomplices, or like the people who are complacent, or people who are involved in the web of secrets, and or who worked for these powerful, primarily men, who uphold the system, and they don't want to persecute these men or go after them legally. So we're entering a different domain of a problem. But I'm thinking about the power element that you mentioned. And when you guard the secret, you feel powerful, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. And
Right.
it goes back to sometimes you feel kind of like, I know something you don't know. So there, it is that feeling of like, or I'm doing
Information
this thing.
is power, right? They
Yeah,
always say that.
exactly.
Information. Secrets are information. And I'm thinking, I don't know why, I'm thinking about the tech companies and how they control data. They funnel data, they give access to certain companies or individuals to data based on a price. So secrets have a price.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it goes back
Our
to
behavior,
information.
yeah, information, our behavior online. We think sometimes it's a secret, but it's being monitored and being stored and recorded, and someone has control and power over it and can make money out of it. So our secrets have become also a commodity.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So I guess this goes back to your question: what do we do in a society that surveillance is not just the state, obviously the other people, but also corporations that that own the infrastructure that we operate in, especially digital infrastructures. And so our behaviors are being recorded.
Yeah.
The things that we think they're secrets, they're not secrets really. So how do we behave in a society? Like, is that good actually? Does that mean that we're gonna behave better? Because
No,
we know that everything is being recorded and it could be used against us, I guess.
it could be. It absolutely could be. And in some ways, I think one could argue like that's the whole shtick of Epstein. Like many of these people, I'm not saying, oh, feel bad. I'm not even talking about the guys who clearly like raped women and children. I'm talking about more just like the fact like honeypotting, like, just and basically people having to be put in compromising situations that they might have not been aware of, to be used against them to do things that they don't want to do, right? So we see that happening on a political level. Who is it to say that's not going to sort of trickle down to people like you and I who have, like for whatever reason.
Right.
And I think
But is that a good thing? That's my question.
I don't
when
think
we're being
I don't think
when
it's. I think it is.
Mm.
It is not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And I think as we are more and more embedded in this type of world, this is where I think it goes back to. This is where I feel like it's the only time where you have to sort of not give power to the secret if it's going to hurt, because you have to, because secrets, and now we went from power, now I'm thinking of truth,
Okay. Okay.
and how if these secrets that are being used against you are protecting you, but at the expense of everyone else, right? Like, and hurting everyone else. I think you have to let yourself free, right? Like, you have to free yourself from the secret. Like, sometimes I think with Trump, for example, if he just said, I'm done with the situation in the Middle East, I don't want any more fighting, let out any more crazy stuff you know about me, I'm free, his soul would be so free. You know, I feel like he would almost become like the greatest president that ever lived if he was willing to just be like, I am done being compromised. I know I'm a piece of shit motherfucker, but I'm done with this Middle East, what's going on in the Middle East. No one can tell me what to do anymore. We're out.
The power, right? We're
The
talking
power,
the
like,
weight,
I think
the
he
weight,
was free. But
yeah,
it
the
would
burden and the
free to
weight
let
of
him,
right.
yeah, but like, it's also that's a huge example. What I'm thinking of right now is, how do you free yourself from the secret if it's at that level? Like, you have to, that's where I think it's almost okay to just, where I see that. But this,
do you think freeing
I think
yourself,
a part of me is like, you don't want to give power to the secret, right? Like that, the reason why everyone's able to do all this like stuff is because they know the power. But what if I say, you cannot take no, there's no secret, tell everyone, fuck it, you know?
Yes.
That's
I'm wondering
a different
if there's
type
like
of power
even
we could gain from letting go of that, from letting the secret no longer be a secret, right? I don't know. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just
no, that's good. There is a weight to the unsaid. There's a
yes.
cost to the secret, to your inner world, inner peace, whatever, to varying degrees depending on your personality or your if you have a a strong conscience. But I'm thinking, is there like a technique even to release yourself or relieve yourself from the burden of a secret? And I personally, I think that approach is the best one, which is like, screw it.
Yeah,
One
fuck it.
step right away. Like, there is no like small steps that you can take into like breaking silence. I think just put it out in the open and deal with it. Like,
I agree.
regardless of the size or the gravity of the secret. Because there's no way around it, really.
Especially if the publicizing of that secret is out of your control, what are you going to do anyway? Right. You know, like you have to take your power back on some level, and I think the only way that you can do it is what you just said: is, hey, it is what it is. What about it? You know. Like, some people have said that, like, who've had secrets come out about them, that they didn't want others to, that it was almost like a freeing experience, like the weight that lifted off of their shoulders in some ways. I was listening to this debate. I gotta get off the internet because they just find me with this stuff. I'm not even searching it, but it's like they're listening to us, right? And it was a debate between like a Muslim woman and an ex-Muslim guy, right? And she was saying, which is interesting because, I know why she was saying it, but she was just like, why do you have to like tell people that you're an ex-Muslim? Or like, she was kind of just like, keep it to yourself. And he said something really interesting, Lumna. He said, but I don't want to lie. Like, why do I have to lie to there is something, we normalize lying, which is connected to secrets, interestingly enough. But he's like, the weight of the lies was really catching up with me, like having to pray with my family when I didn't believe in what I was praying, like things of that nature, like saying things that I didn't mean, like I was living a double life. And it's disrespectful to my family and to myself to live in that lack of truth. And I thought that was very interesting. Like, it kind of made me think in some way, rethink, despite the fact that earlier I was like, just, live a double life. But he made me think, like, yeah, who am I? Why can't people live in their truth? Who am I why does he have to be in a secretive situation just to protect everyone else around him if it goes against his own moral code and conscience, right? Like, that's wrong too.
Yeah. I think there's a misconception there about how concepts and ideas are related to actions.
Yeah.
I think because people think, oh, if you don't believe in God, it can just sit there in that little compartment and keep it to yourself, and then your life could be different, your behaviors. But I think the two feed into each other, and when you try to artificially break that connection, he's performing, he's acting, he's lying. Not to others, to others, but that doesn't matter to me, to himself. His body is receiving a double message. You believe in something, but your body is saying and doing things that are completely in contradiction. So I can see how that creates like an energetic dissonance.
Yes.
And that's heavy. There's a toll there. There's heaviness. So yeah, I understand where in that scenario, in many scenarios, in that way, where a concept it needs to translate into behavior and actions.
Yeah.
And when you try to mess with that, there's something in your inner kind of coherence, energetic coherence, that gets messed up. I don't care what people say.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's 100%, that's why lies, we don't receive lies well. If you have a benign, normal human soul, I'm saying, right? Like, you don't feel well when you lie, and you don't feel well when you're lied to. And there's a reason, because there's a dissonance between what that person believes in or has done and what they're showing, the performance. And I think that connection is very important. So with that thought, I think there's a lot of food for thought here. I would love to leave our audience to kind of ponder, share with us what they think also. So with that, Hawa,
stay searching
and stay unscripted, everyone.
Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.
Talk soon. Bye.